What's up guys, today we're going to be looking at a JAD guide and hopefully help you out getting a fire cape. So I'm going to run through a kill in full and talk you through it and show you some tips and tricks. I'm going to break this guide down into 8 parts. So if you are having trouble with a particular section, I'll put timestamps in the description and you can skip straight to that section. This is a quick look at the monsters we'll be taking on in the fight cape. So if you want a closer look at this, just freeze the screen or you can look it up on the wiki. So I'm on a JAD Slayer task, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to get a clip and talk you through it. I'm obviously 99 range and max gear, so it's going to be a lot easier for me, but hopefully I can show you some principles that will help you out within the fight caves. So in terms of gear, what we're looking at is boosting our range attack and range strength bonuses to help with DPS. Gear that provides a prayer bonus is also useful, so we can use less prayer potions. Also a range defense bonus might come in handy because there are times we'll be taking the range hit. If you are learning, I suggest bringing a crossbow because it can help with the extra range damage sometime from the safe spots. In terms of supplies, I bring Bastion potions for a range boost. I also bring prayer potions and anglerfish. If you're learning this, I suggest you go with brews and restores. It just gives you extra heals and more room for errors. Okay, now let's jump into the clips. Basically in these first waves what we want to be doing is targeting the level 22s. Tagging these is really useful, so if you shift and right click over them you can tag them with the rune-like light, and what this does is it makes them appear blue both on screen and on the mini map, so it makes these really easy to identify. So what we want to do is make sure we get these down first, because if they reach you and make contact with you they will drain your prayer. Also take note where the first level 45 spawns, it'll also be the same location that JAD spawns. So these initial waves are fairly easy, we're just running around and tagging level 22s as soon as we can and kill everything else after that. Once we hit wave 7, the level 90 ranges will spawn. If you are a low level, you may want to protect from range from these. However, I'm pretty comfortable in my defense, so I can tank these. So essentially what I'm doing is not praying range. If I do take any damage, I'll be using the blowpipe special attack to heal back any health I have lost. So through these waves now, all we want to be doing is getting down the level 90s as quickly as possible, as they are the most likely to cause damage to us. And then obviously we need to tag the level 22s as soon as they come in range of us. Once you hit wave 14, 2 level 90 ranges will spawn, so you may want to protect from range from here while they're both attacking you. Okay, so now we're into the second part of the guide, and in here we'll be utilising the safe spots. So essentially anytime the level 180s are going to be in the waves, we'll need to be utilising a safe spot to make sure that they cannot reach us. I think the easiest way to safe spot the level 180s is by using the safe spot here on the eastern wall. So this is the first safe spot, the tile I'm highlighting right now. So basically this safe spot will work for any of the 180s except for when they spawn south, and I'll show you that second safe spot later on. I recommend starting all of your waves on this tile where there are going to be 180s involved in the wave. So to deal with this section, the first thing we need to do is make sure we are safe from the level 180s using the safe spot I've just showed you. Then basically what we can do is kill anything that can reach us in the safe spot, which I've just done here. And then after that we can kill anything that we are safe from after this. In this wave I did get a level 180 to spawn to the south. So all we need to be doing is moving to the tile I've highlighted here. And this is our second safe spot, which will protect us from any of the 180s that do spawn to the south of us. Now that that wave is finished, we'll return to our preferred safe spot. We did get the melee spawning to the south again, so we do have to move to the second safe spot, but once we're here, we're okay. So all we need to be doing is setting up our camera in a good position that we can see where the spawns are going to appear. And as soon as we see the level 180 to the south, we just need to move to the second safe spot, otherwise we can hold this spot. From wave 22, the level 90 ranges will spawn. So what we need to be doing through these waves is firstly making sure we're safe from the level 180 melee. Then if we can kill the rangers from the safe spot, we will. If not, we'll need to get the melee down as quickly as we can so we can come out from the safe spot, and then we can finish off the level 90s once we are free. As with the initial waves, you may want to protect from range here. However, I'm comfortable in taking the damage and healing on the special attack. However, if you are a lower level, you may need to protect from range from these to avoid damage. So here I've got the 180 melee spawning to the south, so I've just moved to the second safe spot. Just be really careful that you aren't dragged out getting the ranger. So make sure you have auto retaliate off and make sure you get the melee down first, because if you were to go after the ranger, you'll be pulled from the wall and the level 180 melee could reach you. I'm pretty comfortable in the fight cave, so I will leave the safe spot to go after the ranger. However, I recommend if you're learning, you just stay in the safe spot. It's not worth taking the extra damage if you are not comfortable in the fight caves. It's not worth risking your fire cape over to try and get in some quicker kills. Hopefully from watching these clips you can now see how to use the 2 safe spots from level 180s. This is really important and you will also need this later on in the later waves. I mentioned earlier in the video that if you're a beginner, I recommend bringing a crossbow. This is a good example of where it would be useful. So if we had a crossbow here, we would be able to reach the ranger from behind the level 180, and what we could do is basically get that ranger down first, and then we'd stop taking damage in the safe spot. However, I don't have that, so I just need to use my blowpipe and tank the damage. In wave 29 there will be 2 level 90 rangers, so you may want to use your protect from range prayer here even if you are tanking. The last wave of this section will be 2 level 180s. So we can use the safe spot here, and so long as we don't get a south spawn, we can stack them both in this safe spot. However, if you do get a spawn to the south, I'll show an example later of different safe spots we can utilize to deal with the 2 level 180s. Okay, so now we're into the third section of the guide, and this is where the level 360 mages begin to spawn. From this point on, we're always going to need protect from mage. These do hit very high, so do not remove this unless you're 100% sure you are safe. So from here we want to be starting every single wave with protect from mage. Through this section there won't be any level 180, so we don't need to use the safe spot, so we are free to come out and run around. So essentially the same as before, what we want to be doing is tagging the level 22s as quickly as we can because they will drain our prayer. And then after that we can take down the level 360 first, and then anything else that remains. This section isn't too difficult, just make sure you stay out of melee range of the level 360s. So I got a little bit close here, so I've just stepped back because you don't want to be in melee range because you are protecting from magic. From wave 38, the level 90 rangers will spawn. Because we'll be protecting from magic, we'll have no choice but to tank this damage. So through this part, the priority will be getting down the rangers as quickly as possible to avoid the damage we need to tank. Then after that we can go back to the mages and the others. Make sure you're keeping an eye on both your hit points and prayer points. Depending on your defense level, you may be taking some damage from the rangers, so you need to keep an eye on your health. We'll also need to keep our prayer up and have protect from mage at all times. If you don't have this prayer on, you will take heavy damage. Hopefully these clips give you a good idea of how to deal with these waves. So obviously we've got a few different monsters out now. So things to keep in mind is just getting the level 22s down as quickly as possible because they drain your prayer. Then we're targeting the rangers because we're protecting from mage and we have to tank that damage. Then after that we can get back on the mages. You'll see in this wave I actually went after the mage first. I didn't actually know where the ranger was, so I thought I'd get in as much damage as I can on the mage. You'll actually see the missiles come in from the range attack, so that lets you know where it is. So obviously once you work out where the ranger is, you can go and target that, but since I didn't know where it was, I might as well be dealing damage to the mage. This is where it starts to get a little bit fun. This is part 4 of the guide where we have the level 360s and the level 180s. So we will need to use a safe spot here again for the 180s. So the first option is to use the 2 safe spots on the eastern rock, which we worked through before. The second option, which I'm going to show here, is how you can also safe spot the 180 behind the 360. So generally don't do what I did, I'm just doing a demonstration here. But if you position the level 180 behind the 360, you'll see it actually gets stuck, so you can use the 360 as a safe spot from the 180. However, I recommend staying in the 2 spots on the eastern rock until you're really comfortable. So as with the earlier waves, I recommend starting these waves in the same safe spot to the south of the eastern wall. Again, through all these waves, we'll need to be starting with Protect from Magic at all times. And our priority for these waves is firstly making sure we're safe from the level 180s. Then we'll kill what we can from the safe spot if it's possible. If we can't kill anything from the safe spot, we'll need to get the Malaya down so we can come out and kill these. Once we've got the Malaya down, we are free to come out from the safe spot and kill whatever is remaining. My advice through these waves is not to panic. Understand what our safe spots are and our priority. So the first priority is getting safe from the Malaya. So make sure we're doing this first, and then from there we can kill the other monsters. So again, in this way we had a level 180 spawn to the south. So we'll move to the second safe spot. We'll take the Malaya down so we can come out of the safe spot. Then we'll kill whatever is remaining and back to our preferred starting point. Here I've come out to get the mage until I can see the Malaya. Once I see the Malaya, I need to go back to the safe spot. We'll get the Malaya down. Now we're safe to come out again and we'll finish off what is left. As I mentioned earlier, if you are a beginner and you will struggle for supplies, I don't recommend leaving the safe spot to try and deal some extra damage. Just stay in the safe spot, let the Malaya reach you, get the Malaya down, and then come out of the safe spot. There's no point chasing faster kills and risking your fire cape if you don't have the supplies and experience to do so. We are now up to part 5 of the guide, and this will have level 360s, level 180s and level 90s. Again, because there are level 180s throughout these waves, we will be needing to use a safe spot to make sure we're safe from these, and the principle remains the same as before. First priority is to get safe from the Malaya. Second priority, kill what we can from the safe spot. After that, we'll need to get the Malaya down so we can leave the safe spot, and then we'll come out from the safe spot and kill what is remaining. Through these waves we will be protecting mage again, so what we'll be doing here is making sure we target the ranger before anything else because we will be taking this damage. We will be starting these waves again from the first safe spot, and I'll talk you through my thinking. So we had a melee spawn to the south, so we need to move to the second safe spot. The melee is down now, so we can come out from the safe spot, get the ranger down first, target the mage. We'll go back to the safe spot to start the next wave and see what we get. Get the level 22s down. We'll come out. We actually have to move back to the safe spot now because the melee came. In the safe spot, the melee's down. Come out, get the ranger down, kill the mage. Back to the safe spot to see what we have next. Actually had the melee come from the west, which is good. We didn't need to move safe spots, so we'll get that down. will come out now, kill the rage, kill the mage, kill whatever's left, and back to the safe spot again for the next wave. Hopefully these clips give you a good overview of what we need to be doing during these waves. So I can't tell you what to do for every single wave and every single possibility, but we just need to remember what our principles are. So the first principle is to get safe from the Malaya, kill what we can from the safe spot. Once the Malaya is down, we can then leave the safe spot, kill whatever's left. Obviously we're going to target the ranger first so we don't have to tank that damage, and then we reset and see what we get next. I've said this a few times now, but if you are a beginner, I don't recommend leaving the safe spots to chase extra damage and see where the spawns are. To stay in the safe spot where you know the level 180 can't reach you. This is where a crossbow comes in really handy. So from the safe spot, using a crossbow, you'll have much better damage range. So you may be able to reach the mage or the ranger from the safe spot while being protected from the level 180. The last wave of this section, you'll need to tank 2 rangers, so make sure you watch your HP and also your prayer points. On to part 6 now, and in this section we'll have a level 360 and 2 180s. So the first priority is obviously to get safe from the Malayas. A few ways you can do this. If you are lucky enough, you can stack them behind the 360 and use the 360 as a safe spot. Obviously if you had a crossbow here, you could reach the Malayas behind the mage. The second option is to use the first safe spot which we used in the earlier waves. So if we jump to here and they both come from the west, it is possible to safe spot them in this spot. I'll show you a third option in case you get an unlucky spawn. You can trap one to the south, then if you run all the way north, you'll drag one with you. Once it comes around the corner, you can then go back to the second safe spot, and essentially what you'll have done here is trap one to the south and one to the north. So if you really get stuck, you can pray melee here once the mage is down, and you can trap them like this. Part 7 and the last wave before Jad will have 2 level 360s. So the orange 360 is actually where Jad will spawn, so take note of that. But what we want to be doing is killing the purple 360 first. What this does is puts us in a good position to fight Jad. He can actually hit you from a long way off screen, so if you don't know where he is, you can't see his animation, you don't know what to pray correctly, and it can be very dangerous. Part 8 and the grand finale is Jad. So the first thing we'll look at is the protection prayers you'll need. So when he slams down, it is a range attack. When he stands up on his back feet, is a mage attack. So watch his animations now. This one here, he's slammed down, so it's protect from range. His next attack, he gets up on his back feet and stands up. That's a magic attack. Get really familiar with his animations because you need to know what to pray. At half health, Jad will spawn some healers, and you can see Jad being healed by the orange glow. What we need to be doing for Jad is one action. So eat, drink, attack a healer, change your prayer. One action, eat, drink, attack a healer, and change your prayer. It's really important that your prayer is correct above all else. So if you are a little bit slow in getting the healers down, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want to be KO'd. So it's really important. One action, one prayer. One action, one prayer. The most important thing is survival. So you'll see I've actually left a healer here behind Jad. It's not the end of the world. I've got my prayer switches right. Once I'm comfortable, I'll find it, I'll go and kill it. But number one priority is getting your prayers right and surviving to get that fire cape. So that was the last of the healers down now. Now it's just back on Jad, paying really careful attention to his animation and making sure we're getting those prayer switches in correctly. And there we go, Jad is down. I was actually on a Slayer task, so it's a really nice bit of Slayer XP for me. So that's the end of my guide. Hopefully you found it useful and does help you to get the fire cape. It's really important just to remember the principles, so you won't know what to do for every single wave, but know what your principle and know what your priority is. So hopefully that helped you guys. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, add me in game, and I'll definitely help you out where I can.